Do you hate spiders? Do you really hate spiders? Well, they don't like you either. This is Slashers, a horror movie podcast brought to you by three goons on, well, we might be changing it from Wednesday in the near future. Who gives a damn? How's it going, gang? If you want us to change the release date to Monday, it seems there was overwhelming support to do that. Please just reinforce that idea. Send us a message on Instagram, on Facebook. Let us know. It seems that if we go on Monday, we have the highest level of competition because so many other podcasts go on Monday. But if we go on Wednesday, so many people don't, listen to podcasts over the weekend that we kind of get lost in the weekend shuffle. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. To my right is Jimothy, returning super quickly after his bon voyage christening. Bud, back by popular demand. How the hell goes it?
Good. Just so good you guys had to have me over on again.
Honestly, you did a really fair job considering last time we were like, hey, it's 2 hours before filming. You want to do it? And you were like, got nothing better to do. Just going to sit here with my thumb up my butt. But now I'm going to be on your show. And this week, we gave you 4 hours of advance notice. Big bump, boom.
Oh, God.
To my left is Chad. Chad, greet the people.
Greetings.
That's it?
Yeah.
Give me something more.
Howdy.
Okay, there, cowpoke.
Sorry.
So I've started a fancy, fun, new little ditty thingamajig that I want to be doing. We are gaining listeners at a startling rate compared to what I was expecting for this show, and I want to make sure that we're as accessible for everybody. I being Jake, that's the voice that you're hearing right now, the person that you're seeing if you're watching on YouTube. So if this is your first time listening to the show, our buddy Jason Hill, 63, describes it like those Friday night conversations at the rental store with the guys behind the counter.
Dude, that was me.
Seriously, I'm not even supposed to be here today. So you guys, I haven't done any singing yet. Are you guys ready for my singing? It's a clever idea I came up with as we're doing the movie. And this is where I can work in the name of the movie organically.
Okay, let's see it.
Hold me, love me, hold me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8-legged freaks. Right? Instead of the Beatles, the Spidles. Fuck you guys. That's as clever as I'm going to be today.
Oh.
Jiminy Jesus. Well, I've been saying, for some reason, I've been saying Christ on Ice a lot, and I keep thinking of Jack from The Shining. So yeah, 8-legged freaks. Which one of your dumbasses had the bright idea to do this movie?
You.
Oh, that's right. Because I like everything with David Arquette, even if it sucks.
Oh, dude, I am right there with you.
Especially if it sucks.
Yes.
He's one of those guys who, like, if he did a good movie, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, if Kevin Smith actually made me cry, like he keeps promising he's going to do with Jay and Silent Bob reboot, I'm going to be like, fuck you, man. I just wanted a dick joke, and I wanted to think about the Thing's penis.
Dude, Jay looks ragged.
Dude,
now.
Okay, he needs fucking veneers or something in the front because his teeth are so short. He has that extra top lip thing. It freaks me out and makes me sad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Jason Mewes. Like he had issues with drug abuse and stuff, but he like a handsome guy. But then now he's got extra top lips, so it's kind of got like a duckish bill to the lips.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
Constant duck lips.
It's a little weird, but he seems to be in good spirits and stuff, and he seems to be clean and sober.
Seems to be healthier. Yeah,
he's a dad.
He's funny still.
Yeah,
so that works.
Sure. I'm gonna see Jay and Silent Bob reboot, even if it sucks. Like many people are poo-pooing it. But
I just watched the original just to get ready for the movie.
Oh, Strike Back.
Yep,
dude, that's a fun movie. Like
with Cockknocker.
You just have to think of the stand. Oh, I have a heartbreaking thing for you. So Cockknocker was Mark Hamill.
Yes.
In the reboot, it was going to be Macaulay Culkin, but he backed out.
He did?
Yeah, he had like some personal issues.
Oh.
Yeah, but I actually started listening to Macaulay Culkin's show, Bunny Ears. It's not bad.
I'll have to listen.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy who's lived the kind of life that he has, I mean, he's super relatable, charming. He keeps things moving. A little bit, kind of bizarre, left to center, but that's coming from a guy who yells onto a microphone all the time.
Yeah, but you have to give any kid that becomes famous, you have to give him like so much leeway because it's just crazy. Like being super famous and super rich real fast.
The fact that he didn't go Danny Bonaducci is a testament. And then when you compare their success, like who is a more successful child actor than Macaulay Culkin? So then you add his level of normalcy. It's like exponentially better than his contemporaries.
Right. Well, even if you go with like Drew Barrymore, who was also a young actress, kid, she went crazy. And then now she's like settled down and great. But yeah, it took a while.
My favorite brand of Drew Barrymore is when she was married to Tom Green.
Yes.
I love Tom Green. I don't give a fuck. People are like, oh, it's just shock humor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. For when it came out, it was pretty hilarious.
It was this weird type of provocativeness that was just absurd and it was fun. But then everything kind of became...
It was just like raw, like Jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
which I still watch. I love Jackass.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's a certain like primal element to your brain where it's like seeing people get hit in the nuts is funny, and that's this is one of the things that drives me fucking nuts. People watch America's Funniest Home Videos and they're like, "Oh, the guy getting hit in the nuts is hilarious," but then a guy doing a butt chug in a movie is like, "Oh, it's so taboo." And it's like, well, really, you're talking about gonads in some capacity, right?
Right.
I was gonna say I watched one of the Jackass movies with my father-in-law a couple of weeks ago. We didn't watch the whole thing.
Was he high AF?
Probably.
That's awesome. It's okay.
But
he's never going to watch this. No. That's the great part about this show. I say mean shit about people I know all the time. No one has ever called me out and be like, excuse me, were you saying my girlfriend was a troll? Yes, I was. And she is.
I believe it's the wife now, but
whoa!
You said people aren't gonna hear it.
Oh my god.
I love this.
Nobody
There's so much inside humor here, guys. You gotta just it's so tasty.
Yeah, so we watched I don't know which one it was, and I'm dying inside because it's so funny. And he just did not. And I thought he would enjoy a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured he would have liked it too.
Yeah, I totally would have
so
gone for
stupid.
Yes, it is.
That's the point of it.
I remember seeing it in theaters with Chad.
Yeah.
And it was so packed. There were people sitting on the steps.
Yep.
And I think even some of our friends were sitting on the steps watching. And I've never been in a theater that was so loud and so raucous with laughter than the Jackass movies.
No. I remember seeing, I think 3 came out when I was in law school. What a delightful little break. You know, you go from reading hundreds of pages a day and legalese and very black and white and gray when you deal with whatever. And then you just go and you're watching guys just slap each other with fake dicks. Who could ask for anything more?
Oh, it's great.
So I guess we'll talk about the movie that we're supposed to talk about instead of Jackass. But if Johnny Knoxville ever wants to make a horror movie, I'll watch it.
All his movies are horror movies.
But I will not watch anything with Bam Margera. Super annoying. I don't know what it is. I have no patience for. But
yeah,
here's your fun trivia. CKY, who also used to do the Jackass style stuff, the band, that dude is married to the broad from Sleepaway Camp.
Yes, I knew that. I actually listened to her podcast on, what's that one?
Oh, she was married
Friday, whatever.
They got
Casualties Friday, I think is their podcast.
Married one day. They got married in one day.
Wow.
And they've been together for like 15, 16 years, something like that. That's crazy to me. There are stories like that. Okay, so can I tell you a fun little anecdote before we get into this? I don't know what the fuck it has to do with anything. There's a musician, Laura Jane Grace, who is formerly Tom Gable, and that transition came out while I was in law school. And I remember that transition like broke my heart because she stayed with her wife, and it was this beautiful, like this article, this expose that Rolling Stone did was like, oh, it's so nice. And I was like, I'm gonna die alone. And then I ended up beating my wife, but I couldn't find a girl to just not be fucking crazy, much less love me regardless of my sex / gender / whatever.
Okay.
What? I'm just making banter. There's no plot to this movie, fuckers.
Yes, that is very true.
I can't wait for the recapitation. Bugs.
Yep.
The end. Fine. Is it time for trivia?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesus, criminy Christ. This is inspired by a short film from the director / writer Ellery Elkayem, Larger Than Life. Came out in 1998. It is available on YouTube. You should watch it. It's in black and white, and it's delightful.
Is it better than this movie?
No.
Is it made to be funny?
Yeah, well, it plays for laughs, yeah.
Okay.
I think the characters are supposed to be like melodramatic 50s kind of characters. Which you can see the references to, like the kid is watching them at one point and the black and white and oh my god.
Right.
So anyway, Shall I just keep going with trivia? Did you have any this week that you want to return fire with?
I actually had some, and they did not save on my Google Drive. The only one that I had was the title change.
Go ahead.
So the title was not originally Eight-Legged Freaks, and that was ad-libbed by David Arquette. The original title was A Rack Attack, which didn't play very well with a lot of terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
So
in Austria, France, Germany, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, it's all called A Rack Attack. Some of those had subtitles. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
And they dropped a line 3 times in the movie.
Yes.
When they're talking about, in the tank, in the real life, yeah, so on, a rack attack. But then they didn't change it. And the only reference you get, and you were even joking that's David Arquette's best line is, "You ain't like it, freaks."
Yeah. I think Jimmy said that, but I totally agree with him.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, well, you're the same person.
I give credit to me. Credit's due.
You guys are like that weird. Here, I'm going to make another anime reference. You guys are the Tetsuo. You're this big, fleshy amoeba that's swallowing my garage studio. How about that?
Fantastic.
Ever since Vampire Hunter D, I think I've tried to crowbar in an anime reference, and I am officially out. That's the last one that I think I've also kind of beaten Dragon Ball Z to death because I've just crowbarred that in. Like, oh yeah, you're like a Piccolo.
I think Akira got shelved again as well.
Oh yeah, Taika Waititi, because he's doing Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yep,
all about that shit. Except I don't like Natalie Portman. Gonna go on the record saying it. I met her at a flea market in Pasadena years ago, and she was delightful. Her friend was rude, and I thought, oh, maybe this will make me like her as an actress. Nope, still don't.
You don't like her in anything she's done?
I like her in Leon the Professional. That's it. She's a child who smokes and is sassy.
Okay. Not Black Swan? Nothing?
Nope. Did not like that movie at all.
Okay. What about that horrible comedy she made?
Your Highness?
Yeah.
Nope. Did not like that movie at all.
That movie was terrible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I just lost on me. Her as Jane Foster, okay. It's also in like the worst Thor movies ever, and she's one of the reasons why it's the worst.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Boom. Shall we move in? This film is referenced in the badly animated Adventures of Spider-Man and the Powerpuff Girls episode Arachno Romance from 2016. Buttercup calls them 8-legged freaks as she goes to attack these giant spiders. How cool is that?
That is actually really cool, and I love those cartoons.
Yeah, and did you know that the Powerpuff Girls movie came out 2 weeks before this movie?
Really?
What a mindfuck, right? Did you know there's an alternate beginning and ending?
No.
I'm not going to tell you what they are because they're super fucking boring.
Really?
Like, Jim, do you want to take those?
Sure.
Go for it.
I'm just going to read off your notes. The alternate beginning is an extended version in which Harlan does a broadcast promoting the mall, after which a worker at the mall sees Wade having the toxic waste put in the basement. And the alternate ending, after the mines are blown up, the townsfolk walk down a road to get help. They meet up with Pete and Harlan, who are walking through the desert. Pete trying to convince Harlan the spiders were not aliens. Afterward, Sam and Chris kiss as the scene ends.
Womp, womp, womp. So let's get to the ending, right? Let's just skip everything. We're not doing statistics or nicknames this week. We're just going to end the episode. Joking, obviously. But
give us Patreon money.
Yeah, how fucking weird is this movie that it ends and there is no egg sack hiding. There's no spider that scampers away or twitches back to life. It's just the end of the movie.
Yes.
I am so used to franchise building now.
Right.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing you get is like the gold teeth, like they found the gold. So it's like a happy ending and no lead into anything creepy like for a second movie.
At all. It's so weird. I mean, nowadays, everything has a setup for at least like a possibility, even if it's not overtly like, like the ending for Super Mario Brothers where Peach comes in and she's like, let's fucking do this.
Yes.
Like that's a cliffhanger ending more so. I'm talking about just like a potential for another. It's so weird. Like even with the gold, you could still have like a chasm or however you pronounce it, like with just a little spider eye going blink, blink and walking away.
Right.
Or the shadow of a spider disappearing.
Or, yeah, I agree. Or it could have been something different, like a scorpion or something.
Oh my God, I would love that so much. As a kid who grew up watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids way too many times.
Yes.
That scorpion kicks ass.
Just showed my kids that. They loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time when my wife was pregnant that we were walking on the Pacific Electric Trail and there were thousands, not kidding, thousands of scorpions. And she's like, the one time she decided to walk in flip-flops. And she's like, what happens if you get stuck by a scorpion? I don't want to die. I don't want it to hurt the baby. And I was like, look, it's like a bee sting. It's really not that bad. And she's like, ah. And so ever since then, that's like her thing.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified of scorpions?
Well, I mean, she hasn't seen one in real life again. I've seen a couple of them, but I look for the creepy crawlies. She doesn't. She's like willfully unaware. Like I found 2 giant ass spiders in the studio today, and you were like, "Yeah." My wife was like, "Not looking."
But you had a huge ass glove on.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't want to get bitten.
Okay, fair enough.
The first one did try to bite me. The second one I just killed. But the first one I saved because it didn't, while it tried to bite me, I think it was like a shinobu kind of like honor thing. I was like, you fought me with honor, I let you live. But the other one was a coward who tried to run away, and I smeared him under my foot. What are those wooden Japanese sandals called?
Oh God, I don't know.
Wooden Japanese sandals. Jim's Googling it. Wooden Japanese shoes. Oh,
I should know this, but I don't.
Geta, obviously. You gotta get a pair of Geta. Boom! Shall we get into statistics, gentlemen?
Yes, let's do it.
Dude, this is one of the weirder starts to an episode, and I'm sorry. I'm all over the place this week.
It's fine, because this movie's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's okay. So, first off, I love this movie. So, kind of like when the last time Jim was on, it was Maximum Overdrive. And that movie's fucking crazy and it's weird and you shouldn't like it. Your logic brain's like, please don't put me through this. But then the rest of you, the id is like, give me this. Oh, I want to smear spider guts on me. Oh, I love that cute spider sneezes and coughs when they don't even have the same kind of respiratory system as humans.
Yes, and they all have little voices. Like,
so cute. I love it. It reminds me of Gremlins. Statistics, budget, estimated $30 million, of which an estimated 2/3, I believe, was spent on the special effects, which, hold up. Am I right?
Yes, for the time period.
Yeah, I mean, the effects by modern standards are like a decent sci-fi movie.
Right.
Yeah. And when I say sci-fi, I'm obviously talking about the channel. If you'd like to sponsor us sci-fi, go ahead. Don't think you will, but they put out good YouTube content. Did you know that?
I did not.
Sci-Fi Wire does some really cool stuff for comic books.
Oh,
there's a few series where like John Romita Jr. will be like drawing and explaining his method of art on camera. And they show. I found it through Stan Sakai, who does Usagi Yojimbo, who I'm obsessed with. So
okay, I think I might have even watched that, but I didn't even know what channel it was on. Random scrolling.
Yeah. So of that, the U.S. gross $17,322,606. Now this is where the internet just decides to screw me over. 3 different sources for worldwide gross: 45 million, 19 million, 28 million. You're dealing with IMDb, the numbers, Box Office Mojo, and I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It made money, not enough money.
It bombed.
Would you like to know why it bombed?
Yes.
Came out July 12th, 2002. Came out number 7 at the box office. Who was it competing with? Well, it came out 2 weeks after Men in Black 2. You might have heard of it. Global phenomenon, even though it wasn't as good as the original.
Yep.
It came out the week after Halloween Resurrection, Reign of Fire, and Road to Perdition.
Oh, yeah.
It came out 2 days before K-19, The Widowmaker. I don't know if you've heard of, was it Catherine Bigelow? The gal who did this also did Point Break and The Hurt Locker. Speaks for itself in terms of quality. And obviously, Stuart Little 2 is going to beat the fuck out of it. Came out the week before Austin Powers in Goldmember, and then 3 weeks before Triple X.
Yeah, this is packed.
Like, for this age group, for PG-13, for comedy with action interwoven, you can't compete with those.
No.
Like, Men in Black is going to win. Reign of Fire.
So Reign of Fire holds up too. I watched it recently and I was like, oh, I still love this movie.
Batman with Dragons?
Yeah.
Batman with Dragons.
You're right.
What the fuck?
And you get Matthew McConaughey all badass, bald, and buff.
Wow.
Isn't that him?
That, you know what? What's funny enough, Chad, those are the words I would use to describe you as well.
Oh.
You
can jerk me off later. Let's continue.
All right. Of those, Jim, if you had one free movie ticket the week or let's say July 2002, what are you seeing out of those? Is it this movie, even though we've all agreed we like it?
No. Reign of Fire.
Yeah. Feel like I'm kind of in the same.
Maybe K-19. I haven't seen that in a long time, but
I could see it. I think I probably would have chosen Men in Black 2 because I loved Men in Black 1, but that's putting me in the mindset of a kid at that time because Men in Black 2 is just not good.
If I was thinking at my age that time, it might have been Men in Black, but now,
yeah, looking back, I'm like,
retrospective,
Laura Flynn Boyle, get the fuck out of here, toots.
I could tell you, I for sure saw Men in Black 2.
Oh, absolutely. Who didn't? Did you not? Then why are you listening to this show? You should take a pause, go watch Men in Black 2, come back, and then realize how much better we are than that fucking movie. Yeah, and then Triple X too. You know, if you're
I saw that as well.
I've never seen it, but if you're in like dirt biking and like guns and like wee, like that's a perfect movie for it, right?
It's pretty terrible, but it was entertaining at times.
Well, it spawned 2 sequels, one of which had Michael Bisping, the Count Bisping. Yeah. All right. Anyway, runtime 99 minutes. There is definitely some fat to be trimmed on this movie, right?
For sure.
At least 9 minutes worth. Like we were talking about them battening down the hatches at the mall. Don't need it.
Nope.
Some of the romance stuff falls flat. I really don't like the scene with ScarJo getting splattered against the wall. There are elements of it I like, but they could have just done it better.
Yep.
And the thing is this is what you get when you have a writer director.
Right.
Because so many of their ideas are like sacrosanct and they don't, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
We kind of talked about the mall scene being that they could have just dialed it up and kept it going at a much higher speed with like killing the spiders and stuff, but they added a little bit more comedy that I think slowed the plot down during like the climax.
Yeah, see, I found nothing comedic about it. So it was more like a dramatic kind of build and it didn't work.
No, I agree. Like it didn't work, but like them grabbing all the weapons and stuff, I thought, they could have just had really cool, crazy kills of some more spiders and stuff. And
I
kept the speed going of the movie.
Agreed. Like I watched this and I think of Dawn of the Dead and I'm like, that sequence is so fun when they're doing like the pie face zombie and everything.
Right.
And then you get to this and it's just like, there are some fun kills of spiders. One of the funniest things in the movie I cackled with, and my wife looked at me like I was an idiot, was one of the townsfolk gets pinned by a spider up against a sign that says, "Want to be an organ donor?"
Yeah.
I was like, that's very clever in its own weird way. So I would have much rather had that and just cut it. But I mean, in terms of, it's the guy's first feature film. Yeah, that's not bad. The director, Ellery Elkayem, went to Christ Church Film School.
Huh.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me neither.
Good for them. Not the movie I would have expected. He also directed Without a Paddle, Nature's Calling, Return of the Living Dead, Necropolis, Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave, and has no credits since 2009.
I was going to say Without a Paddle was a good movie, but I was the first one.
Yeah, not the sequel.
Not the sequel.
For sure. He also, he wrote the movie along with Randy Cornfield and Jesse Alexander. Are you guys ready for the music? I'm fond of this. This gentleman, John Ottman, did Lake Placid, Usual Suspect, Halloween H2O, Apt Pupil, Bubble Boy, various X-Men movies, Cellular, House of Wax, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Bohemian Rhapsody, Urban Legends Final Cut.
Damn.
Everywhere. And I'd never even heard the name until I looked it up for this research.
Interesting. Yeah. I think I've seen all those movies, but I've never known his name either.
Nope. And now I'll never forget it. What was it again?
Ottman.
Got him.
Ottman.
Yeah. So, Jim, is it that time to get the nicknames, prick names?
It is.
Go for it.
All right, got David Arquette as Chris McCormick.
Anybody have anything for him?
I just wanted to call him his character from Ready to Rumble.
Yep.
Gordy. Yeah.
I had the same.
Which, again, if you have not seen that movie, go watch it. It's great.
It's so good. It's the Blood Diner of wrestling films.
Yes.
Like everybody was like, "Oh my god, the wrestler with Mickey Rourke is so good. Randy the Ram, he has a heart attack and dies." I was like, "Fuck that! That movie's sad and boring. I want to watch Ready to Rumble."
I don't even like wrestling, and I love that movie.
Did you know that David Arquette is a former WCW heavyweight champion?
Yes, because you told me.
I love it.
I had no clue.
Oh yeah. So when they were promoting Ready to Rumble, they did the death match triple cage from the movie. Diamond Dallas Page was they're promoting him as a face because he started in the movie, and Arquette famously betrayed him and took the belt out from the top. It was awesome.
You've seen the movie, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I don't remember anything though.
Well, it sounds like you're overdue for a rewatch.
Yeah.
pausing this episode and we're gonna go watch. Anyway, he's going to be in the new Shutter Creep show. He was in Scream 1 through 4, Never Been Kissed, and Hamlet 2, the only movie I've ever walked out of at the theater. And he said in an interview he's only, quote, slightly afraid of spiders.
Oh, all right.
Slightly. So we're calling him Gordy?
Yeah, Gordy.
All right. Take us away, Jim. Who's next?
Kari Wuhrer? As Sheriff Sam Parker.
I kind of just want to call her Sheriff Wow. What was she in, Jim? Look at the
All
notes.
right. She
Read
was
them. They're so
in
good.
Anaconda, Thinner, Beastmaster 2, Through the Portal of Time, Married with Children, Swamp Thing.
All 17 episodes
Oh.
of the original, not the new
Okay.
streaming service one.
And Hellraiser Deader.
Yeah. I like that it has a question mark. That does that in my
Deader?
notes. And then she voiced a bunch of shit for Marvel and DC in terms of vocal acting. So I thought that was pretty
Wow.
cool. All over the place. Do you go read the rest of the trivia about
She
it?
has a good, healthy fear, but no serious phobia of spiders.
All right.
And had never played a mom. Her dad was a cop. She used him to keep the integrity of the badge.
Direct quote from her. And I love it. So in the same interview where she talked about keeping the integrity of the badge, she's like, oh yeah, I had never played a mom before, much less the mom of a 17-year-old or whatever. And I was like, look, lady, everybody ages. It's a perpetual thing. We're all doing it. Calm down. Any particular characteristics?
Characteristics?
Like, well, that you would use to do a nickname.
Sheriff MILF.
Okay, I was gonna say Officer Milk, but I wasn't sure if that was overly derogatory. But we can all agree.
That's how they play her off in the show.
Yeah.
Like when she stops the dirt bike guys, they're all like, oh, the hottest sheriff in 3 counties or whatever the hell.
Yeah. He was like, "Can you sit on my face, officer?" That wasn't clever. That was just. But the guy wasn't meant to be clever. So yeah, Officer MILF is fine.
Perfect.
I'll run it by my wife, and if she thinks that it's sexist while I'm editing, I'll censor out every single time we reference MILF. My wife is a MILF. We'll see if that stays in the final cut. Scott Terra as Mike Parker. Come on, guys. The Page Master.
Oh, that's right.
He's on a bike. He's got glasses. He's got the quintessential 90s hair. He's a Page Master. He's a dork.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, he's definitely an interesting character as well.
Done. So he played young Matt Murdock in the 2003 Daredevil.
That's right. I was like, where is this kid
It
from?
blew my mind. 'Cause I was
What the
like,
hell?
He's so fucking familiar.
Yeah.
And then he was in Motocrossed in 2001.
Don't think I caught that one.
It's so weird. It overlaps so significantly with this movie too. And he has no acting credit since 2010.
Oh.
Kind of blew your wad with this one, my friend.
Yeah.
This is the high water mark. Motocross down here. A rack attack up here. So Page Master, we're all in agreement.
Yep.
Chad.
I mean, I'm going to forget it anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We simultaneously agreed on Scarlett Johansson's. It is.
Yes, Black Widow.
Yes.
It has to.
Exactly. She played
It's a
Ashley
movie about
Parker.
spiders, and she has a spider name in the Marvel universe. So
Absolutely. Miss Romanoff. She didn't think she was afraid of spiders until somebody tried to hand her one, and she was like, I can't touch a spider. This was her 11th movie at the age of 17.
Jesus.
As a pretty accomplished little lady.
Yeah.
And at the time that this movie came out, she was most recognized for being in Home Alone 3. How fun.
Wow.
Shows you how times have changed.
Yes.
I still remember in Iron Man 2 when she does the Hurricane Rana, and I was like, I would give anything to be. Anyway, Dougie Doug as Harlan Griffith. What do you got for him?
Wait, which guy's this?
He's the radio guy.
Paranoid guy.
Oh, okay.
Anybody? The news radio. How about that? I don't know. He's the radio
Yeah.
guy.
I'm down with that.
No, I want to call him Good Morning Vietnam. That's what I'm going to call him.
Okay. He's more of a what's that guy that does a late night conspiracy talk show?
There's a few of them. I know which one you're talking about, like Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast, yeah.
The name is
God
escaping me.
damn it. I listen to him all the
I remember
time.
his the name of his show, but not him. What
Yeah.
the fuck is wrong
It's
with my
because
brain?
I mentioned it.
It is. You did this to me. You
Oh.
Machiavellian schemer wanted me to look stupid on my own show. Whore. Anyway, none of the other people really matter, but I would like to note Tom Noonan is a goddamn treasure. Okay? He was Kane in RoboCop 2, the Frank Miller classic. He played Francis Dollarhide, and you're like, what? That's Rafe Vines, who spells his name Ralph Vines. No, it's not, bitch. Have you heard of Manhunter? Bitch. He played the Red Dragon Tooth Fairy in Manhunter, which if you ain't seen, you gotta see, because it's fucking crazy. It's like half Scarface, half Red Dragon, and it's full awesome. He was also Ripper in Last Action Hero. He was in the X-Files, and he was in my personal favorite, The Ice Cream Ants.
Wow.
No, I'd never even fucking heard of that
Okay,
until
I was
doing
gonna
this
say-
research.
I was gonna say, wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, when he plays Ripper in Last Action Hero, that's
Yes.
I would watch that movie so hard.
He's totally creepy in that one.
So good, and that axe is so creepy.
Right.
Ugh, I
I
love
feel
it.
bad for him. Yeah, like his face is just a creeper type character,
For sure.
but he plays it great.
He's like our friend from The Hills Have Eyes who plays Mercury, whose
Yes.
goddamn name I can't remember ever, but he's so nice. Hills Eyes.
Eyes.
It's God damn it! Why is Google doing this to me? Keep going. Somebody distract. Ha cha cha.
The
Ha-cha-cha. Ha-da-da-da-da-ba.
yeah.
Jim, jump on the table and do your famous tap dancing routine. Okay, you're leaving me hanging. You leave me much to be desired. Mercury, Peter Locke. That's not it. You fucking. What the hell? Oh, he's
This-
Pluto? Mike Berryman.
Is that him?
Yeah, I thought he was Mercury.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah,
I'm
that guy.
so dumb. I'm such a dumb.
Yeah, he's this guy. He's not as bad as that guy.
No, for sure. But then this guy has like birth defects from like his
Right.
dad working with radiation or whatever. But
Oh,
super
really?
sweetheart guy. Yeah, dude.
Oh.
He's like the nicest fucking guy ever. Pluto. Why did I think it was Mercury? Oh yeah, because I'm an idiot. This is all Chad's evil scheme to take over my show. Jimbo, do you have a recapitation for this movie that can beat my original one?
Bugs. Are spiders bugs? Are they arachnids? Does that count? I don't know.
Oh, I think a bug is just a loose term for any kind of insectoid that has an exoskeleton. So
I guess. I don't know.
imagine what a spider would look like with an endoskeleton. Ugh, that's terrifying.
All right, recapitation.
So just what happens in the movie? A sentence, maybe a sentence with a semicolon in the middle of it, so it's like kind of a comma splice.
All right, toxic waste gets dumped into a lake and causes spiders to grow and infest a town and kill a bunch of people.
Do they kill them though?
Yes.
That's how it says PG-13, right? Because I remember the way I remembered the movie was motherfuckers dying left and right. But then you watch it and you're like, do they?
They really
They
don't.
do, because when they're in the tunnel and David Arquette's like, my aunt is the only one that I could find alive, and he shows several of them sucked dry.
Oh, I guess that's a good point from the female orb weaver.
Yes, but
Yeah.
all the other
Yeah.
ones,
I guess they aren't going around killing them. They're taking them back.
Yeah.
well, not the other ones. Only the orb weavers are. The jumpers are not part of the orb weavers
Cast
cast.
system.
Yeah, those all the ones that are like near the cave are the ones that get sucked dry.
Oh,
So you're just kind of guessing that the jumpers are the ones killing all the other ones too.
Did you see that female orb weaver's ass? She could
Oh,
suck
I
me
did.
dry. Am I right, dog? Yeah. Let me tell you something, though. This movie would not happen just a few years before. Why?
Why?
Because Captain Planet, he's the hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. Fuck. What's the douchebag's name? Wade. Leon Rippey is Wade. He's loot and plunder.
Yes.
Boom.
Oh,
Got him.
That's good.
All right. That was a great job, Jim. That was a perfect recapitation. Now let's see Chad ruin it by doing the slay by play this week.
So we
Oh,
start out.
Can I do the first line?
Oh my God.
Do you know fear? I love it. It's so intense and stupid, and you know it's going to be hammed up, but I
Right.
loved it. Keep going.
Oh, you're not gonna read the whole thing?
Oh, God, no. I was starting to
Okay.
type it, and I was like, nah. I put, do you know fear? And then I also put inside dope on conspiracies and aliens. And then he makes the joke about the moon landing, Oswald and Kennedy. And then this is the best thing that he says. He's like, oh yeah, and it's like a black man's vote counting in Florida, which this movie came out in 2002. You'll remember Hanging Chads from 2000.
Hey,
So good. Dude, I love that joke.
you know how many jokes I had just from that stupid voting thing? Ugh. It was
Oh, you
annoying.
poor guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Ew.
Anyway, so yeah, it starts out with the DJ kind of talking about conspiracies, and you then cut to a trucker driving. He looks tired, and he's carrying a whole truck full of chemicals, and a rabbit runs in front of him.
Is it a wascooey rabbit?
Yeah, it's just like a cute little white rabbit, and he freaks out, and he like swerves to avoid a teeny little rabbit, and one barrel flies out and lands into a pond.
Now, this is obviously better than the idea of them just taking barrels of toxic waste underneath a mall, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's silly, it's slapsticky, but I prefer it vastly to the alternative. So keep going, Chad.
Right. Then we cut to Joshua, who's the creepy guy. What did we name the creepy guy?
We didn't.
He's a creepy guy.
I was very reverent about him, so let's just call him Ripper from Last Action
Okay.
Hero.
Ripper is collecting crickets near the pond, and he's like all excited. And he brings them back to his spider farm. Then Bike, the boy, what's the boy's name?
Page Master, bitch.
God damn, every time. Page Master.
No, it's Page Master, bitch now.
Oh, Page Master, bitch. You see him riding his bike past the pond and the toxic spill, and he passes a sign that says exotic spider farm.
Which basically means they're strippers.
Yeah, and he just walks in, and Ripper scares him, and he's kind of creepy about it.
Oh, for sure.
Puts his hands over his eyes, and he's all silent. Yeah, definitely child molestery.
So the reason that the kid backs up into Ripper is because the Lycosa narbonesis jumps at him through the cage, hits the glass, and he goes, "Whoa!" Backs into him, and he's like, "I'm leering and creepy." And then you get a very topical reference for the time when the parent squawks, "I see dead people."
Yes.
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh, it's his favorite movie."
I really, really wish that when Joshua died, he changed it to "I see dead person." I feel like that was a great thing they could have done, but then whatever, they kind of phoned it in. Keep going, Chad.
So Ripper then talks to Page Master Bitch and gives him a whole description over all the spiders that he has, which is kind of weird because the boy seems like he's been there before. Yet he's like, "Hey, let me explain every single spider I have and how they eat their prey."
So you got the spider with the trap.
Yep.
You got the
spider, jumping spiders.
Yeah. There's a spider that's behind him that escapes.
Right.
The jumping spiders is where you get the first time where they say a rack attack.
Yep.
You get the orb weavers, which are competing for the attention for the female, which is 3 times as big as they are. And then that's when Page Master's watch alarm goes off, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go. See ya." And you think it's weird. I thought it was quaint and kind of I won't say ingenious, but I think it's a very effective way of giving you the expository information. So you're a layman, but when you see these things happening later, you're like, "Oh, well, that's the jumping spider. Oh, that's the trapdoor spider." Makes it all relative so that you're not just like, "Whoa, what's happening?"
Right. It definitely sets up that you can see all the species, which is kind of cool.
Later on, like in the parking lot scenes and stuff, or
Yes.
around the mall, it was like, "There's that one. There's that one. Oh, and there's those."
Yeah.
Like,
I think
thought it was
that's
good.
I think that's what I was looking for more too. I love that part.
people running across the parking lot, and they're like, the trap spiders are like, "Boo!" and just-
I love it. And so tell me what you think of this. I think this was one of the ways you all know, everybody who knows me knows I'm a huge proponent and advocate of tweener movies. Even if I don't like them personally, I think they serve a very serious role in introducing people to horror movies. This is a great movie to do that. And this mechanism, by explaining the spiders, you're not getting the shock and terror of being like blindsided by it. Imagine how much scarier it is if you're watching that guy try to get through the parking lot, and then these creepy legs come out from this fake lid, and he rips the guy and pulls him underground.
Right.
Versus, "Oh, this is that one. We're gonna get to see it." It's like watching pro wrestling. We're like, "Oh, that's this dude's finishing move. His finishing move is he pulls him underground." Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So then the Page Master bitch
Leaves.
gets called back home, and he's, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was stealing your thunder.
No.
I just ranted about pro wrestling again for no reason.
Fine.
No, okay, fine. We're gonna give it over to Jim. Jim,
Dude, do it.
All right, so the he goes out, Page Master Bitch goes out, and then
that's the best organic evolution of a nickname since Princess Flappy Buns and
Yes.
Loved Ones.
and then the
Officer MILF.
what?
Yeah, Sheriff Milf. She catches him riding his bike home.
Oh,
and
did
she's
we
like,
already go through? He got bit.
No,
Oh, yeah.
we did not.
No, because he got the creepy
Well, Joshua,
guy.
yeah, Ripper.
Ripper's like looking for his little spider at the top of a cage was slightly off, and it's on his back, and he gets bitten and goes down. And in the notes you say that the spiders are already crawling on the roof.
Yeah, they are.
As he's falling and knocking stuff over for the first time,
Exactly.
and the spiders are just coming out of nowhere. My wife commented on it. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was like, why are they already on the roof? They haven't been let go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like kind of freaking out about that moment. And then, I mean, it's hacky, but I also kind of like it. I think they missed an opportunity with showing like spiders being malicious and planning. You know, it feels like Big Bob from Arachnophobia is planning. These ones just kind of feel like they're running amok. And I felt like when you start off, it seems like a concerted effort. It is a planned ninja stealth attack. And then the rest of the movie, they don't do anything with it.
right.
So keep going. Jim, my
The
boy.
spider that bites him is pink toe tarantula.
Aviculiara from South America. My
Nice.
daughter has it in a book of pink animals.
Huh.
It also has like a naked mole rat in it and a blobfish. Did you know blobfish, the reason they look like blobs is because of the depressurization, and it effectively rips their tissue apart.
Oh.
But when they're actually underwater, they don't look like that at all.
No.
I did know
Super
that.
sad. My vegan senses were like, ah. And then, oh, I love this. So after the initial incident with the bunny, it's 1 week later. And
Yes.
then after this incident with the kid and his mom, Officer Milf, being like, you're grounded. The title then goes, and another week later.
Right.
Super fun.
I actually laughed at that.
Well, we have another week later, and then Arquette is coming into town.
He's going Mimi's on a bus.
Yeah, and then he pulls up to the oil yard, and then that's when the old lady's like, "We're not hiring." And he's like, "But I am Chris." Oh, okay, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, shit, dog. That's all you had to say.
And so obviously they know each other, and they hug, and the dog's ripping at his leg.
Super weird. Cute dog, though. Boston Terrier.
Yeah. It was a very weird scene.
Oh, yeah.
The dog just bites him, but it's also his aunt, right?
Gladys, yeah.
Was it?
Aunt Gladys is what he
Oh,
calls
okay.
her. I don't know if it's just like the familiar that he calls him. I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of movies like Walking Tall and like, you know, where it's like, oh, the hero's coming back home and everybody knows who he is. And
Yes.
there's so many movies that do that. I mean, going back even Rolling Thunder back in the day, if you've ever
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that one.
I do.
So super good movie, right?
Yeah.
It's awful. Have you heard of Rolling Thunder? That's a fucking horror movie if I've ever seen one. This dude is in an internment camp or in Vietnam, right? And he gets like released and he comes home, and the town mayor gives him a silver dollar for every day he was in captivity. And these dudes go to his house to steal it. Think they rape and murder his daughter, kill his wife, and they shove his hand in a garbage disposal. So then he teams up with a super young and attractive Tommy Lee Jones, and they fucking murk those fools. It's
I'm
awesome.
down.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Another good wrestling movie, No Holds Bar.
That's not a good wrestling movie. It is a good example of why most wrestling movies are fucking terrible. But yeah, I'd watch that for sure with Zeus.
The God. Yeah, Zeus's face. Every time I see it, oh, I just want to punch him.
Oh God. Well, we could do what is it? It's Suburban Commando that has The Undertaker as a cameo, and he has the voice of a child.
Yeah. Weird.
Oh, yeah, we need to do here See No Evil and See No Evil 2.
Oh,
The
that's
Kane
right.
movies.
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? There are so many movies to do. That's one of the crazy things about this genre is like you can do movies that are like somebody actually was kind of critical of us on Facebook. It's like you're called slashers, but you haven't done a slasher movie.
True.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
oh, awkward. I feel I'm more the embodiment of a slasher. So, Jim.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, Chad, after you.
So David Arquette meets Aunt Gladys, and she kind of says the mines are closing, and yeah, so they're gonna sell all of the town basically. On the way home, this is where Mike runs into MILF Sheriff. I mean, Page Master Bitch runs into his mom, MILF Sheriff. And Deputy Dumbass is what I named the deputy because he's in the pond taking out all of the toxic waste.
Yeah, I had called him Doofy because he
Oh,
reminded
yeah,
me
it's
of
perfect.
the guy from Scary Movie. But
Yeah. So he's taking it out. The son sees that he's like, oh, it is contaminated. He kind of figures out that's probably why spiders are growing so big. And he says he has to go warn Ripper, but he's grounded instead. They get in the car.
to dirt biking.
Yeah.
Wee-oo. Fucking wheelies, bitch. Do you want to take over what happens with wheelies, bitch?
So there's a bunch of bikers going down the road as Officer Milf,
Sheriff Milf.
Are going down the road, and they pop some wheelies, and she flips a bitch and pulls them over.
That's
exactly.
right.
And ScarJo, was she on the back of the bike?
She was.
Yeah, and then she was on the back of the bike, and she gets off, and she ends up being the daughter of the sheriff.
I don't remember the name of the boyfriend, but all I remember, I call him Gilmore Girls in the notes because he's the guy who fucks Rory in Gilmore Girls.
Oh, well, the only thing you really need to know is he's the mayor's like stepson.
Yeah,
that's it.
And he pisses himself, but then he's like kind of redeemed.
He has a weird character arc though, because like in the beginning, he's kind of like, "Oh yeah, sorry, sheriff, don't worry." He's the nice guy, and then he ends up being the jerk, and then he
attempted rapist.
Yeah, attempted rapist, and then he ends up being kind of like, "Oh, good," and kind of redeeming himself.
See, he's good because he's a victim. He's not good because he does anything altruistic. Right. He doesn't like save anybody or do anything heroic. So that's one of the things that's very frustrating with him, where he gets tased in the balls, and then he's just like protecting himself the whole time. Like, if he really wants to be redeemed, he should do something prolific, but he never actually gets that chance.
Agreed. Yeah.
You know, he'd be a great candidate to do like the sacrificial death, like the ones about to bite Black Widow, ScarJo, and he's like, no, and he goes like balls first. He's like, look, my cock would have saved your life in multiple ways. You know what I'm talking about? Or because she tased him in the balls, he has no feeling. So when the spider bites him, he's like, this is nothing, and gouges it in the eyes, and they fall into a crevasse.
Let's rewrite this movie.
Okay. We open on a cold desert night. Anybody? I set the scene. Chad, what happens next?
A comet. Meteor.
Dude, I was going to say comet. We're so best friends. Now, is it this? Well, fuck. Hold on. God damn it. Fill time. God damn it.
Well, I was going to say a meteor falls out of the sky, lands in the desert.
Okay, and that meteor's name is Rhea M, a rogue comet. And it's only going to be on Earth for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. You got to listen to every episode, fuckers, because that's a reference to Maximum Overdrive. Whew.
Oh, okay.
Jake is off the chain tonight, fellas.
Yes.
Sorry about it. Jim wanted coffee, and I was like, coffee? I can give you some coffee. So I busted out my Chemex. Tell everybody how good that cup of coffee is. Divine.
It is actually really good.
You're
going
welcome.
to have to tell me what you put in here again. Not right now, though.
Just so if you've seen Midsummer, I took a tuft of my pubic hair and some of my menstrual blood and put it in there as a spell to make you love me.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm interested now.
You had me at tuft of pubic hair. So ScarJo is on the phone with the fuckboy, and she's like, hey, fuckboy, I know we were just together and you were in trouble with my mom, blah, blah. The kid unplugs it. I thought he was unplugging her phone so that he could plug in his dial-up internet. He was just trying to call Joshua. This is where you see that his body is covered in web. He is clearly dead. And then you see that the spiders have grown in size again because of the quote-unquote spider steroids, which he called those crickets that he was catching at the beginning. Yep. And they pull him off screen, which I thought was kind of a fun little effect. And then we go to the Prosperity Mall.
Yep. Town is holding a town meeting, or the mayor's holding a town meeting to trying to get everyone to sell and up and move so that they could dump chemical waste underneath the mall.
Loot and plunder. And this is where you get the heroic re-entry of Gordy, who's like, like I'm squinting from the corner. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's Chris McCormick.
Yeah.
He's back after 10 years. And
he owns the mine.
Yeah. One of those things where he's like the total badass, but he's still humble enough to ride the bus. And you're like, God damn it. What if God was one of us? Just a stranger on a bus trying to make his way home.
Oh.
So this is where you get some needless exposition where Loot and Plunder chases him out and he's like, you haven't been here in 10 years. And he keeps escalating. You weren't here when your dad dies. Keep escalating. And he turns him around. The fuck did you think was going to happen when you grab a guy and turn him around like that?
Twice.
Oh my God. It's meant for being punched in the face.
Yep.
And this is where.
But they also said his dad went crazy. He actually found like a huge gold vein in the mine. And so that kind of like leads to the fact that he doesn't want to sell the mine because he doesn't think his dad was crazy.
Yeah, what is it? The Sierra Nevada lode or something crazy like that? Or the Agua Mesa lode.
Agua Mesa lode.
Yep. And so Sheriff MILF handcuffs him and then she lets him go and she's like, warning, warning. And Black Widow's like,
Look
you
at
were
that ass.
You were eyeball fucking his ass, mama. And she's like, no. And she's like, that man's ass is the devil, mama. And she's like, no. And then they both make a joke that the Officer MILF makes a joke that he needs a shave.
Yes.
Which comes back later on. And then the best part of that whole scene is Deputy Doofus being like, all right, everybody, nothing to see here. After they're already leaving.
Yeah, they're already all gone. And
Such a tired joke, but it works for me every time. So we cut to Gladys and Gordy having breakfast, just so you could hear more of the radio. They have a little bit of talk about it, but this is how you establish that Gordy knows what the radio show is, because that comes into play later with Harlan.
Yes.
The next scene, Jimothy.
This is the drywall scene?
Yes.
Oh, it's the kid with the camera.
Oh, yeah.
I likened it to Home Alone 2 with the Talk Boy, where he has like this weird camera device where he's like doing selfies and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And he overhears the sheriff on the phone. Wait, no, you're right.
No, it is the cat
The
first.
cat was before the breakfast. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead. You do the cat
Okay.
scene.
They're not my notes, so.
Yeah.
That's on
Apparently
you.
not my notes either. I'm just the one who writes them. Whoopsie.
So we go to Deputy's house, and the cat sees the spider legs in the vent. He goes in after him. And then the wife is like, you going to feed the cat or whatever? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, then the guy.
the
she
guy's
goes
doing
for the food.
Yeah.
And there's like a spider almost gets her in the cabinet. And then
which looked great, by the way. Yeah. That like the half lighting or like it's the lighting conditions when they're one solid set of lighting is great. When the spiders are outside and it's just outside, it's great. When that spider's in the cabinet, just in the cabinet, it's great. The worst lighting we'll get into is when the forklift scene, when there's those spiders, because it's like half shadow, half fluorescent light, and it looks terrible. Keep going, Jim. Sorry.
So they try to get the cat out of the wall with the cat food, and then you hear it screech, and then the most probably ridiculous part of this movie.
Which I love so much.
Yeah.
It is so dumb. It reminds me of like George of the Jungle and Mr. Magoo and those movies that kind of came out at that time.
Yes.
Is it like Tom and Jerry-esque?
Yes.
Oh, for
sure.
sure.
Like if you
Yeah.
hit a cat with a pan and it leaves like the face imprint,
Right.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, dude.
So the cat's going crazy, and there's all these noises going on, and the paw prints in the wall, and then the face, and then
The best one's the spider's stomach, where you can see all of the legs sticking out of it.
yeah.
Because it looks like kind of just a shattering piece of drywall. But if you know what you're looking for, you know it's a spider, like, oh, shit. Keep going, Jim.
And then I don't remember how it ends. It just
They go up
They
to
go
the roof
up
and
to
there's
the
like a light that's still there and it kind of makes like
oh
electrocuting
yeah, it goes
sound.
bzzz,
Right.
and that was the end of that scene.
Yes.
And
All
I
right.
said,
And now we're at breakfast.
yeah, this in my notes, I was like, this whole scene just reeks of Gremlins. The sound effects are Gremlins. The mischievous nature of it, the menace of the one in the cabinet reminds me. So like, this is perfect. This is what I love. Like, Gremlins is, I think, probably. I struggle to think of a better example of a great tweeter than Gremlins.
Yeah.
If it wasn't strictly a Christmas movie, I think it'd be more broadly accepted. But my point being, I think this is awesome. It definitely kind of captures that whimsy, and you move on. Very similar, of course, to Evolution, which I think I've referenced 1,000 times on this show. But I'm a
Love
big fan
that
of.
movie.
So then we go to the kid who's using the camera like it's a talk boy. He overhears the sheriff talking to the deputy about the cat being eaten. Then he finds out that his
Buck.
his bike has been handcuffed to the water heater, so he can't escape to Joshua's. Oh my god! And oh yeah, I thought this was funny as a vegan. When Deputy Doofy is like, oh, he's crying, and he says that he's not crying. He's just lactose intolerant, which makes him mucusy. Reminded me of Super Dude from All That. You remember? He's lactose intolerant. You remember that?
I do not.
I do.
But I do
Kenan
remember all
Thompson.
that. I love all that.
Oh yeah.
I did.
Everyday Friends with Pierre Escargot.
Yes.
There we go. That's the only one. Oh, then what is it? Very Important Something with Mary Beth Dimberg.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
that the bigger girl? Or no?
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a bigger man.
She's
That's cool.
hefty. She's like baby Kathy Bates.
Yes. Oh, that works too. All right.
So then we go. Oh, can we just hurry through this fucking scene?
With the boy showing up to the spiders? Or which one?
What?
Isn't that the one?
No, it's when Arquette pulls up to the sheriff's house and he's doing his rehearsal of like professing his love.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
The mom is
That's
having
dumb. The mom's
talk.
having a talk with
ScarJo.
with Black Widow about boys, always wanting one thing, blah blah blah. She's like, I'm not like you. I'm not going to get pregnant at 16 and have to stay in the stupid town. Typical,
and
mother daughter
she refers to her
fight.
as trailer trash sheriff. I was
Yes.
like, holy shit! And so the mom's like, I didn't deserve that, and I was like, I second that. That was excessive, even from a guy with a foul butt fucking mouth.
Yeah. It's not a knock on her. It's the town's trailer trash, and she's just a sheriff over them. But
it was clearly, it was a snub.
No,
to her
I know
mom.
it is.
And then this is where Mama gives her the taser.
Ooh. Oh, that wouldn't feel good. Anyway, and then that's pretty much the whole scene.
There's
Except for he comes to the door. He's trying to tell her something. He actually never spits it out, but he says, "Do you want to have dinner?" She's like, "Yes."
Yeah. And when he like leans over the door, it reminded me completely of Buenos Nachos, Senorita from Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
And that's it. Oh, the best part of this whole stupid fucking scene is when he's walking back to his car and he slaps himself in the forehead and he's like, I picked on myself. What an idiot.
Yeah.
How many times have you done that in your life where you like totally botched things with a foxy cheek and you're like, God, stupid.
Never.
Silver tongue Chad over here. That was a cunnilingus joke. Moving on. So Pagemaster finally gets over to the Ripper's house and finds that it's covered in cobwebs. He keeps calling out for him and moving the webs and doesn't see him. And he's recording himself do the scene. He gets behind the house and sees that there's access to the mine, and he finds the Ripper's boot. And then he sees the giant spider in the freaking mine.
Right.
And it's like, hey, fuckhead, you have a video camera in your hand. Why are you telling me that nobody's going to believe you? Use the video camera in your hand.
Yeah. But he's so cool through this whole thing. He's like, he's probably dead. No, like super panic, nothing.
He's a man of science.
I guess so. Then the boy meets up with Gordy on the road and he picks him up, which is kind of weird.
You're 80% correct. There's a brief scene with Gordy in the mine, which shows his like expertise. Then it goes on.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it's a little bit of banter with him and the guy who's worked for his dad, who ends up getting the spiders in the mouth later. So it's one of those things that makes you like that character. But that's what I mean. 80% correct because it's a nothing scene. Move on.
It's super short. Yeah.
You're talking less than a minute for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But he gets in the car with Gordy, even though he just got into town, and it's kind of strange. And he witnessed him punching the mayor, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll get in the car with this crazy guy.
And it's weird that like he doesn't know who that Gordy is. But then at the same point, when he goes to Sheriff Milf's house, the kid doesn't see him. So it's just kind of a happy coincidence. He talks to him about the spider piece of its exoskeleton at the foot. And he's like, oh, it's from a spider. But nobody will believe me. And he's like, why won't anybody believe you? And he's like, I don't know, because reasons.
Right. But he doesn't believe him. He says, oh, yeah, it looks kind of like a cactus.
Yeah.
And
then we cut right back to the mine that Gordy just left with the worker who has some issues with his water line, sucks up the hose, and then the spider legs start sticking out of his mouth, and then 5 tiny spiders crawl out of his mouth, and 2 large spiders walk in,
right.
And then he gets snatched off from stage right by 2 big spider legs. What'd you think of it, Jim?
It was disgusting. I have a spider in mouth story. And it creeps me the hell out. So my grandparents have a lake house, or had a lake house out in the desert.
Which sounds like you burned down after this happened.
Yeah. And so they have a quarter mile around lake, and they have well water out there, so they just pump the well water out of the Mojave River. And they have this old ass raft that was like fiberglass around the side with a board on top and like some sort of cloth. And we would mess around and you'd go under it because you could breathe. It was like hollow. And so we would go out and just chill all day on the lake, and we'd go under and we'd come back up and just chill on top of it. At some point, a spider like got on me, and it like I didn't feel it, and it like literally crawled across my cheek and like started to go into my mouth, and it wasn't tiny, probably the size of a quarter, and I like spit it like and like swatted it on the freaking raft, and like yeah, I was done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this
I'm never
this
going
movie,
outside again.
this scene brought that back.
Give you the heebies and the jeebies,
Oh yeah.
the jeepers and the creepers.
I thought this scene was kind of weird because it's a huge ass hose, and he's like, "I'm just gonna suck start it." And you're like, okay.
Nope. Sorry, fella, that's not how this works. Or if he can do it, he could probably get a golf ball through a hose.
Yes.
Hey yo, little bit of. Is it still called cunnilingus if it's on a guy? No, it's fellatio. That's what it is.
Fellatio.
Fellatio humor. We're highbrow here. We don't say blowjob humor. Even though he was doing it on the job.
Right.
So the kid sneaks home. Them's on TV. Mom blames the TV. And she says some very specific phrase about it, like some delusional fantasy brought on by pop culture, which the kid then smarmily says back to her. He's like, me, 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 me.
Yes.
Fucker.
This is where we go to the mayor, correct? On the phone with
with
the
Ostrich Farm.
shady ass people.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh,
like,
can I bring up a point?
yeah.
So she adds a week to the kid being grounded, but Scarlett Johansson isn't grounded for being reckless and stupid and calling her mom officer trailer trash lady.
Yeah.
I was kind of taken aback by that. That's inequity, and I think it's brought on by sexism. I will get more into that later.
I think she has a lot more hope for her son.
Yeah, right. She's
like, he's actually smart.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the daughter, she's like, I'm going to sell you to the Russians who are going to make you an infertile monster, according to Joss Whedon. Am I right? Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
That was a very specific reference. Sorry. Yeah, Ostrich Farm with loot and plunder on the phone and Gilmore Girls overhearing from the shadows.
Yes.
You
So the mayor's like on a phone, obviously with some shady company that says they hired him to dump chemicals underneath the mall. And he's like trying to get the whole town to be sold so that he can kind of just dump more chemicals into the mine for this company. And outside, ostriches start disappearing, which is kind of fun. Basically, they get pulled underneath by like the hide spiders.
Trapdoor spider, yeah.
Yeah. And he hears something, goes outside to check it. All he finds is a pair of legs, and then several more ostriches disappear right around him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of strange because he doesn't do anything, and they cut to like another scene, and
There's
like,
no end to it.
and he doesn't care. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna eat a burger. Like next time we see him, I think he's eating a burger, right?
An ostrich burger, no
An
less,
ostrich
yeah.
burger in the mall, and you're like, oh, he didn't care at all.
He doesn't call the sheriff. He's not concerned. I mean, at the very least, because he's such a materialistic capitalist, you'd think that he would call the sheriff because of lost property.
Right.
Very odd.
Yeah.
But the scene is a good tension builder, but then it just does nothing with it, which is the frustrating part. Like, you need that kind of cork pop at the end to kind of get you there.
Exactly.
But-
Then we go to the DJ talking about the theory of all like the missing pets around, because he's getting calls from everyone saying like dogs, cats, ostriches, they're all disappearing.
And he's talking about aliens, and this is another point where David Arquette's like, hey, Gladys, you shouldn't be listening to that. And she's like, I should be listening to it because fuck you.
Yes. This is where we go to
It's a direct quote you can find on IMDb.
this is where we go to Black Widow.
This sentence is awesome. ScarJo getting finger banged by Gilmore Girls. Whoops. That's weird. Keep going, Chad.
Yeah, so she's making out with the mayor's son, and she says, stop, I don't think I'm ready to lose my virginity. And no, she says, I don't think I want to lose it in the front of a pickup truck. And he's like, oh, why did you say so? I have blankets and we can just go in the back.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
And he says,
Classy.
and I quote, I can't help it. You bring out the beast in me.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yep.
The fuck? Like, so I used to
It's
do
how
a bit,
you do the line.
dude, years and years ago, I did stand up and I wasn't very good. But one of the things I used to make a joke about was Bruce Springsteen and how like his lyrics, while people hold them out as profound, like could never actually work. Like if you walked up to a lady and you were like, this gun's for hire. She would just look at you and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not going to dance in the dark with you, you sick fuck. And this is one of those things where it's like, it sounds like a lyric of a song. Like you could definitely see the band Wasp. Like the song, they did the song Love Machine.
Oh, okay.
You don't know what that song is.
Yeah.
Okay, how
I'm
does it
just
go?
a love machine. That one?
No, that's okay. You're actually close. It's not that, but you did find a song where it used that. It's dramatically LOVE. Nothing.
No.
Oh, dude.
I blink.
I would love if you're a fan of this show. Drop a line over to slasherspod@gmail.com. Tell us what your favorite Wasp song is. It's not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It's a hair metal band, and they're fucking hilarious.
If you send me like a list of songs, I will listen to them once, but I will listen and then I'll try and relate them when you make a reference.
Hey, Chad, what's your favorite Misfits song?
Oh, God.
We literally talked about it last week.
Is there one with a waterfall? I don't know.
What the
No, I'm
fuck?
just
Salt
kidding.
and pepper? No.
I don't remember any of them. I'm sorry.
So she tases him right in the nads.
Yes. Which I think he'd be hurt way more than he is in this.
Oh, yeah,
He's just like,
dude.
oh, and falls on the floor, and then he's pretty much okay from there.
He pisses himself, though, which is great.
Yeah, that part's really fun.
I don't know. I kind of was like, you know, when a guy gets handsy like that with a girl, maybe a little trickle of blood out the urethra is good. Also, can I make a gripe here? It should not be called a pee hole on a guy. It's a pee slit, right? Like your dicks are shaped that way, right? Where it's not a cylindrical hole. It's like a little slit that like opens up when the pee comes down. And it's
No, mine's like a straw.
what?
I'm just kidding.
From all that docking you do. I'm cool. I know what the internet is. Gotcha. Did I just break Jim? Like, I don't want to be on the show anymore. He's talking about dogging again.
All right, so Black Widow takes off in his truck, leaving him on the ground
She's
as
a
he pissed
fucking
himself.
thief.
Yeah, but you know, if you're going to be raped, I think you can take someone's car.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a very fair rebuttal.
So as soon as she leaves, a bunch of the jumping spiders kind of appear on top of like the ridge where he is in the desert with all the dirt bikes. He freaks out, runs over to all of his friends saying like, dude, we got to get out of here. They're coming. No one believes him. They're just looking at his piss stain. He jumps on a bike. They all like all the
He
jumping
jumps
spiders.
on the bike of the guy who's like, you pissed your pants, you fucking
Right.
dork. And then he gets taken out by a spider.
Right.
And so you're like kind of rooting for Gilmore Girls at that point. Like, yeah, you show that guy who's pissy pants, don't you?
Yes, and this is where we start getting into the cool scene where the dirt bikes are all like taken off and the jumping spiders are chasing him down.
It's crazy. There's a great one where the spider takes this dude down from behind, like she's doing like a bulldog headlock from pro wrestling, and the dude goes like face first in the ground and flips, but then the spider like doesn't land gracefully either. Really clever use of the way that like the mechanics on it were super fun and not what I expected even from a rewatch. You get the famous one from the trailer of the movie where the guy does what did I put here? Is it a no-legged can? No foot can / switchblade to drop kick a spider. I'm cool. I'm hip. I played Excite Fight 64 that had on the themes on the soundtrack. I think it had Sum 41's Fat Lip on it. I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
I can't believe I remember that, to be honest with you.
So after he does that, he kind of crosses a road and
Why'd you do that?
he cuts right in front of a
Get to
big
the
old
other side?
truck. Yes. To avoid the spiders.
Yes.
He cuts
Who
off
were
a
glued
truck.
to a rubber chicken. Sorry, Chad.
Okay. He cuts off a truck. The truck smashes one of the spiders on the windshield, and then all of them jump onto the truck. So he kind of stops to watch this all go down. The truck tips over, hits a telephone pole, knocking out all the phones to the whole town. And the whole truck explodes. One of the spiders is jumping on top of it, like making funny noises. It was kind of a weird scene that I was like, what the hell?
It walks out of the fire, and it's very much like a reference to the T-1000 and T2.
Right.
But then it falls down dead with this cute little And I thought that was adorable. And you could tell, so Gilmore Girls is clearly not a badass because he doesn't just walk away from the explosion. He needs to sit and watch the explosion.
Yeah.
I know I'm not a badass because I would need to watch that explosion. My attention span is too short. Like, oh, that's amazing. And so after the one spider dies from the fire, 6 other spiders just walk through the fire like it ain't no thing, and they start chasing them down. We cut to Harlan on the radio.
Yes. Wait, do we?
That's what my notes say. Do you have something else?
Well, he goes into the mine. Right?
I don't think he goes directly into my. He's wheeling away.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Whatever. My point was salient. So then it goes to Harlan on the radio, and Gladys is with her Boston Terrier, who scuttles down into the subterranean basement. Jim, what happens?
So the dog goes down to the basement, and there's a big hole down there, and big old spider legs come and grab the dog, and this is where Sierra jumped.
Oh, super hard. It was awesome. I loved it. It made me laugh super
Jimmy
hard.
reading your notes, telling you when your wife jumped is great.
Yeah, dash wife jump. I put that very often in the movies. But what's funny, I'm sure people are like, she never jumps at the end of the movie. That's because she's asleep, ladies and gentlemen. She does not make it through any movie unless she's taking notes to do The Descent. Hey, Patreon exclusive for August.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, boop. Make sure to check out Slashettes. Keep going, Jim.
So Gladys goes down to check out the sound and finds the hole. She's like grabs a ski pole, is like going in front of her, and finds her dog's collar, and she goes into the mine. I love how everything is just connected to the mine.
Right.
Like every single building
house-
has like a back door or underground cellar that
Right.
connects to the mines.
Every house is built on a mine shaft.
It is the exact same movie as Evolution, except with spiders.
Yes.
So she goes through the mine, and then there's a spider on the ceiling of the mine, and it grabs her and then spins her up like a cartoon.
Yeah.
I
Very
enjoyed
much
that
so.
part.
So I just looked to make sure. Yeah, Evolution came out in 2001. This came out in 2002. I think that's probably the thing that frustrated me the most. Is this the comparison was so staunch even at the time. I think that's one of the reasons I was a little bit more cynical, because I think I like this movie now as an adult more than I liked it then, because I think that I just enjoy schlock in a different way.
I agree, but I think Evolution's a far better movie than this one.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know it was apparently originally Ghostbusters 3?
Really?
Yeah, and they changed it.
Interesting.
It blew my mind too. I was like, that doesn't really make sense, but apparently so. And then that Dan Aykroyd has a cameo in it, and
Yes.
I think it was Reitman who directed it, but
Oh, interesting.
yeah, the more you know. I met Dan Aykroyd once. He was the best celebrity I've ever met. I've met so many of them. May I tell an amusing anecdote? We have time. I will. So eons ago, a band that I was in, we found out we got a gig at the Whiskey A Go-Go on the famous Sunset Strip. So we're just sitting and we're over in front of the House of Blues, just talking about it, like how excited we are. This is so cool. We're the first band from our town to do this. What set list we're going to do. And Dan Aykroyd's just walking across this like little bridge, and he walks across the bridge so diagonally toward us, and he's like, "How you doing, boys?" And I was like, "What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
You just approached moi on a day where I'm already on cloud 9?" And I was like, I don't want to say I was just starstruck, because I usually don't get starstruck. I was just so like giddy with happiness. Is that a fair like?
Oh,
he
for
was
sure.
so fucking nice. It didn't even occur to me that he was like a celebrity. It was just like, he's so nice, and I'm already in such a good mood. This was like the best interaction I've ever had. So Dan Aykroyd, I highly doubt you'll ever listen to this bullshit little podcast, but if you do, you're my favorite celebrity I've ever met in person, and I challenge any celebrity to do better. We're going to be at Midsummer Scream. There's going to be a lot of celebrities there, so the gauntlet is thrown, butt fuckers. Jim, what happens next?
So Arquette goes and comes down. Was he at the house? Or he comes to the house, whatever.
Right.
Goes down, finds the hole somehow, and starts
That's what she
crawling
said.
in.
He hears his aunt making like moaning
Oh,
noises.
here's the sound.
Yeah.
So he goes down, and then he finds a giant spider leg.
Yeah.
Why was that there?
I think he said like they shed it, like the
They shed?
exoskeleton or something,
Oh,
right?
okay.
They do shed.
Yeah.
You ever
Well-
watch a time lapse of a tarantula shedding its skin?
Oh yeah.
Terrifyingly awesome.
Is it called molting?
Yes.
Is that kind of like a
Like a snake.
Like the way a
It's
bird
like-
does, yeah.
or a lobster or something?
Shedding.
And
Or as I
What
like
you
to
said.
refer to lobsters, sea cockroaches, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're delicious.
tasty cockroaches.
Yeah.
A little bit of garlic butter. Mm.
Oh. Anyway.
Okay. I'll remember this next time I watch the movie Mimic.
Dude, I would eat one of those bugs.
Ew, you sick bastard.
Dude.
That's why you always shit liquid.
That's an autoimmune disease.
Sorry. That was ableist of me, I think.
So he finds this giant spider leg. He says, "This ain't no cactus."
Yes, I put that in quotes. Yes, I did. Because it's so stupid.
So he crawls out and he goes over to the sheriff Milf's house and wants to talk to the kid.
The Page Master
Page
bitch.
Master bitch.
Which is really funny because he's like, he likes the sheriff. And he's like, no, screw you. I really need to talk to your kid. And you're like, what? Okay. She's like, all right.
This is in a beautiful era, too, where the kid's like, I've made a spider analysis. Clicky, clicky, clicky. It does the ratio clicky.
Oh.
This would be this big.
Compared to a human.
Yeah.
I love
So
how
awesome.
how specific the program is.
For sure.
Right.
And that 3D rendering, I'm like, this fucking kid? Like, that wasting your time, buddy. But anyway, so they're talking about the spider analysis. The mom's kind of naysaying. And then when Black Widow gets out of the shower, you see through the window. And at first I'm thinking maybe Gilmore Girls is like going to come, hey, save me. I pissed my pants and I've been running from spiders all day. Not what happens.
The big old spider comes out, which I think is an orb weaver because it
Correct.
shoots its web all over her, which shooting the web from this spider looked really funny because like doing pelvic thrusts.
Ejaculate.
It was like, but it was pretty great.
The image of the legs coming in through the window.
Yeah,
perfect.
that was actually really
Love
nice.
that.
I like that. It was very good.
Yeah, and as a guy who's seen orb weavers up close, like I thought that was one of the cooler like designs, and they even got the end of the legs right because they kind of hook. Super cool. It totally distracted me from the fact that this lady has a POD poster on one wall, a Linkin Park poster on another, and an American Badass Kid Rock poster on the other wall.
Yeah. So basically, she screams, and it brings up the sheriff, the boy, and Gordy. And Gordy starts fighting off the spider, trying to help. Grabs scissors from the boy.
Yeah, he uses a wooden chair like you would a lion tamer, and I
Right.
was like, "Bitch, you want to use a steel chair? That's going to be effective."
And the sound effects
Yeah.
for that. Right?
Click, click, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, right. It sounded like Jackie Chan doing those kung fu boards in Ready to
Yes.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Yes.
Ready to Rumble in the Bronx. That's the mashup movie I need to see.
And then Gordy gets squirted all over too and gets stuck to the wall. And then Sheriff Milf comes up with a shotgun and just saves the day.
Doesn't somebody's hand get webbed to the wall?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it this
David.
hand with
Yeah, he has
his-
the scissors.
with the scissors, and it's like splat, like
Yeah.
very precise.
Yeah,
Yep.
it reminds me of when Dwight throws the scissors to Michael. Or was it? No, it's Aaron who throws the scissors to Michael when he's opening the saber box and he catches them and they're like, oh, it's so dangerous. But this reminds me of another point. At the town hall meeting,
Yes.
one of the ladies says something about it's a meeting, not WWF. I will have you know that the WWF became the WWE May 5th, 2002. So this movie was dated at the time it came out.
Wow.
The more you know. Keep going. We're all the way down my notes. Oh, Jesus.
Sheriff blows the spider away. She calls Deputy Dumbass and says, hey, you really need to get all the guns and bring them to my house.
Yeah, all of the guns.
All of the guns.
And Gilmore Girl finds the den with the cocoon bodies. And what's cool is you see the giant legs of the mama spider going by, but you don't see the whole spider.
Right.
Really like that. It's your breadcrumb. This has got size and intensity. And then when you actually see her later on, she's not a letdown. Like they did her well.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
I agree.
So the deputy pulls up to the house, right? And there's a spider on the roof of his car. And the sheriff is like, blam, blam. Thank you, ma'am.
He shoots up, right? And then that's the one where it like drips on his face. He's like, has a weird look on his face.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very weird scene. Like he doesn't move yet. It like drips almost in his mouth. And he's just like, oh, I'm going to sit here. Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah. And so then the gal saves him, but then Arquette saves her from the two spiders on the roof.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it reminds me so much of Wonder Woman, where it's like the girl can save someone, but it's the man who saves the day. Am I right, fellas? Was Steve Trevor saved America?
You're on your own.
What? you seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate that ending. I'm like,
Yes.
what the fuck? Just let the woman be the hero, you cunt. I wasn't saying it about her. I was saying it about Steve Trevor. Sorry. I'm going to censor that. Oh, God. I was trying to be a feminist and I turned into an asshole.
Well, it was nice doing this podcast with
Seriously, they're coming for me.
Wrap it up, boys.
I smell tiki torches.
This is where we jump to the barbershop.
Yes.
Yeah.
We jump to the barbershop and one of the guys is watching TV and he can't hear. And what was the barber's name? Do we have a name for him?
No.
Barber
I don't
Beefcake. It's a WWF reference. So anyway, he's sitting there and he's just yelling at his friend, and then
he's yelling at him to turn the TV down. Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Can't fucking hear you. Fuck yourself." And then the spider catches him, and then that spider, along with another spider, wrap that dude up, which is kind of interesting because you'd think it's a dog eat dog, spider eat spider thing where they're trying to impress the woman that it would only be one of them. So the fact that they're teaming up at all kind of reminds me of like a Survivor thing where we're going to be enemies at some point. We're going to have a temporary alliance. You know what I'm saying? Jim knows what I'm saying.
Was there another spider? Because I feel like he was like a different guy.
Was a different guy.
He went out to try to open the door and this key was stuck and he turns around and there's a guy getting spun on the ceiling. He's like, Bob?
Right.
Yeah. So it's the one from behind him and then another one teams up with him. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. And so then the deputy pulls up. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. Yep.
Yeah. Did we say that the sheriff and all of them are going to the DJ to trying to warn the whole town?
Yeah. So they infiltrate his trailer and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like accusing them of being the man and he doesn't believe them. And I love the fact that he's like, "Wait, you believe in aliens, but not spiders?"
Yes.
That was great. And then the giant tarantula shows up. Love it. Where he's like the tank and they pull the Jurassic Park. The page master's like, "Don't you fucking move. I don't want to fucking die here. I'm still a virgin."
Yep.
Nobody tried to finger bang me in the front of a truck in this movie yet. You know how hard it is to whisper like that? That is an awful feeling on my throat.
Really?
Somebody take over. I have to
The
cough
tarantula
politely.
tips over the trailer. They then escape out the top and take off towards the mall after they warn the whole town to go to the mall. This is where the whole town is like kind of sitting around their various parts, listening to the radio going, "Yeah, they're just crazy. It's just the normal show." And then spiders start popping out everywhere because they're nocturnal.
Exactly. It was awesome.
I love that the diner being attacked and
Yes.
when they get inside and then the one spider that jumps on the stuffed deer head is like, it shoots out a tuft of hair at everybody.
And just like the punching that he does of it, where it's like,
oh yeah,
it's super funny. And I love that the dude, when he's escaping to try and avoid the trapdoor spider, just throws a ladder over it.
Right, but they also gave him like Indiana Jones music.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate because Indiana Jones is an incidental hero who does nothing heroic, but this guy's a hero, god damn it. It's Jake's hot takes.
Oh.
So anyway, the mayor's eating his ostrich burger in the mall, loot and plunder, and he's like, "That's the best ostrich burger I ever had." And he's like, "It's quiet in here." And the lady's like, "Yeah, you dumb fuck. It's always quiet in here because this town is dying." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's why I want to irradiate it with nuclear waste." Nuclear. How about that?
Perfect.
So as he's walking out to his goddamn car,
It's
he
actually
sees a bunch of people.
biological waste, but that's cool.
How about fuck off, Chad? I was making a topical 2002 reference when George W. would go around and be like, "Nuclear," because that's how it's spelled and pronounced in America.
So all the townspeople then start going to the mall.
And in the car, you get David Arquette saying, "There's spiders from Mars." There's your David Bowie reference, fuckers.
Who's that? No, I'm just kidding.
You son of a bitch.
Uh,
All right. And then Harlan starts yelling, "Invasion, invasion." You see the spider sounds. So the spider sounds in this scene really kick off to a whole new level of like cutesiness and like funny. And like when they splat, it's like, bleh!
right.
And
They add a lot of like character to the spiders with this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a good time to do it because if you didn't, this is a very overwhelming scene, but it becomes more comical, easier, breezier. You get to kind of move through it. No gore, unfortunately, but fortunately, if you're trying to show this is somebody as a tweener. And again, the kid sees the pandemonium and says, "Iraq attack." So you get it again. That reinforcement that's completely disregarded because the film doesn't have that name. So they have the plan to amplify the signal of the mayor's cell phone because the mayor is the only person with a cell phone in this fucking scene using the radio tower. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange.
When
I
you-
did not have a cell phone at this time.
Now, in the inevitable remake of Eight-Legged Freaks, which is bound to happen because Hollywood's run out of ideas, I can't wait to see how they kind of get around the whole only one person having a phone device. So they all barricade themselves in the food court, and then what happens? Jimothy.
This is where the tarantula approaches,
Oh,
and all the it steps on one of the little spiders.
Yeah.
Splat.
Yeah.
I love that because they're not on the same team. It's all just chaos. So it kind of reinforces that idea. It's very different than other invasion type movies.
Yeah, and it kind of just tears apart the iron door or the metal door that they dropped down and leaves a big old hole open, and then some dramatic pause with all the people with all their weapons and stuff just standing there, and then all the other the spider backs out, and then all the other little guys just start rushing in, and that is when do we cut to Arquette up on top with Harlan?
It cuts to it a few times. I would
Cuts
like
to
to point out that there is a guy with a hockey mask and a chainsaw who gets killed,
Yes.
which I
Yep.
was seeing him was like, yes. And then he dies, and you're like, well, fine. And that plays in later because Deputy Doofy ends up taking the chainsaw, does very little with it.
Right.
There's a scene where the roll cage comes down and he's on the other side of it, and the legs are coming over, and he just cuts off the legs, and they all goop him.
Yep.
Reminded me of the slime from the Kids' Choice Awards. And then we go up. So you have Harlan up on the roof. He's like, I can't take heights, so I'm just going to jump from a crazy height. Makes no sense. Lands in a bush from multiple stories up. Completely fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cartoony, but that's fine. Later on, Arquette zip lines into the vent system, screaming.
The spider coming down is like,
Yeah, right. See, like it gets really silly at this point.
I laughed out loud at that part. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And when he says
Yeah.
eight-legged freaks, I kind of shook my head and chuckled like that's what did it. Could
If
you
he-
imagine being the guy in like the art department? You make this cool poster, a rack attack, and you're like, yeah. And then they're like, hey, this asshole was hanging onto an antenna for 6 hours during filming, and he just yelled eight-legged freaks. So why don't you redo all this marketing material?
Yes.
it was his best delivered line of the whole movie.
Undoubtedly.
He does a great scream. Like he does it in all of his movies.
Foreign objects. Yeah. So then the Gilmore Girls is in the mine. The mayor finds him and tries to steal his motorbike, then gets taken off by the damn spiders. And so then Gilmore Girls drives off on his motorcycle and kicks up a bunch of dirt into the spider's mouth, and it coughs. And like I mentioned earlier, the spider would not be having the same kind of respiratory system. It's not capable of coughing, hiccuping, or sneezing, but it's cute that he does. Super cute. We'll just say it's like a mutation, right?
Yes. All the townspeople are also heading to the caves or mines, whatever the hell you want to call it, because all the other spiders are chasing him through. Yeah.
Yep. The barber gets killed after he wieners out for like the third time watching people die, which is awesome. I'm glad to see him go. Gilmore Girls shows up as they're using the forklift to get into the mines. And this is where you see the worst spiders in the movie because of that
Right.
dual lighting situation, which is bad. But everybody shoots those spiders behind him. And, you know, ScarJo, Black Widow, isn't like, hey, mom, this guy tried to rape me or anything. It's just like, okay, we're all kumbaya and copacetic now. Very odd.
Yes. Hey, whatever.
All is
Fear is
forgiven and
a
forgotten.
aphrodisiac.
Hey, that's true. Like, look at the movie Speed, where Sandra Bullock
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to, do some Kegels on Keanu Reeves' nose in that movie.
It's Keanu Reeves, man.
Dude, I would do that.
I'm there too.
I'd Kegel the fuck out of his
Woo.
nose. Arquette leads everyone into the mines, and he's like, I know where everything is. And so he gets the bright idea to take them down into the methane gas area. And this is so there's a custodian around who is this nerd who kind of looks like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. Chad, you
Yes.
probably still haven't watched that, right?
Nope.
Jim, have you ever watched that?
No, I haven't.
I've seen the guy though, like on the
Yeah,
cover.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. My name's Johnny Cash. Super funny. And so as I'm watching him, every time he says something, I just said it out loud in my Bubbles voice, which is great. And so he gets into the web, he switches his glasses, and then boom, there's a spider. Love it. One of those scenes that pays off because he'd already done that gimmick earlier where he has the glasses and he switches to the other glasses, and that's how he sees that the mall's being swarmed. Good payoff. I'm glad they did the comedy in 2s rather than in 3s because you could see something like that being really redundant.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
David Arquette sees a bunch of the, what do you call them, power lines, I guess, in the cave. He says we have to follow these to a generator. He then gets the bright idea to break one of the lights.
Bright idea to break a light. Is that intentional?
Nope.
Good.
And he sticks some matches in it. And so when they start the generator, he plans on like blowing up the cave. But he finds the mayor alive, all wrapped up, and saves him, right?
Yes.
And then he says, oh, my aunt might still be alive too, which is kind of ridiculous because she's been in there a very long time.
Yeah. Well, it all happens over the span of like a day, so it's not that terribly long of a time, but yeah.
Right, but
turnaround.
everyone else in that cave is already dead and sucked dry. So
But she's kind of haggard and she smokes.
I guess she's not.
I
yeah.
wouldn't want to eat an ashtray person.
True.
So
So
he's already half desiccated.
Right.
Exactly. So he like carries off the motorcycle without turning it on, which I was like, that's clever. He's not using the ignition and thus he's not lighting up the methane. Finds Gladys and he says that she looks like an angel because she's, surrounded by gold as if she was like the Virgin Mary. And the gold is the
Gold vein.
agua mesa malode. You dumb fuck.
Malode.
Malode. So Gladys, speaking of dumb fuck, she tries to light a cigarette in a methane gas mine. You'd think that given the fact that she works for the mine company, she would know not to do that. And so, they've already established she can't shoot the gun. You don't want to blow everybody up.
I thought his reaction to her trying to light it was kind of mild.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
he's very
You're
nice
all
to
about
her.
to die.
He's
And
like,
he's like,
"Hey."
oh, no.
You scream on a zip line, but not this. Weird.
Yes.
But yeah, earlier there's a guy who's supposed to try and shoot the spider, and then he uses the
crossbow.
Yeah,
Here,
was
catch
officer-
this.
No, exactly. And so we've already established you can't use the gun. So when Big Mama Spider, the Orb Weaver, comes out, you're like, oh God, we can't use the gun. And he pulls out the perfume, which Pagemaster presented earlier and was like, hey, they have a very sensitive sense of smell, and this will confuse them. I fart on spiders all the time. Never noticed that. You ever fart on a spider, Chad?
No.
Just try it. It's liberating.
All right.
Chad, with how much you fart, it's
Well, that's true.
a near
I probably
constant.
have, but I haven't not noticed.
Not directly onto one. You've like wafted fart juice over there.
Correctly.
Okay. So then the spider's confused. Gladys takes a football player's helmet
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, you don't need this anymore. I'm convinced that was in order to keep this movie PG-13 because the MPAA would probably require that everybody wears a helmet on the bike.
Wow.
I truly think that's why.
That might be.
So as they're going, the daughter uses the taser to light the generator, so it sets off the line, which does not make sense, but it lights the matches, would start the explosion. As it's happening, they jump, and
Hero shot.
and the spider is screaming, and the scream sounds like a woman, and he says, "Adios, Consuela." I
Because
Googled
that's
that.
the name of the spider. The Ripper guy actually says what meets Consuela to the little boy. That's the actual name of the spider.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How does he
In
know
the very
that?
beginning. I have no idea.
Okay.
Unless the boy told him, but I don't remember the boy telling him that.
Just making sure, because I was like, that doesn't ring true to me at all. No idea. And then Harlan does the voiceover at the end. Jimbo, you want to take us off through the rest of the movie?
Yeah. Well, do we get the emergency services come too?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like
Very
all the guys
Monster
show up,
Squad.
and
Yes.
are they like where's they think it's an alien invasion or something?
Yeah.
Right. They're because they listen to Harlan or whatever.
Well,
Right.
it's so that's what I mean. Like at the end of Monster Squad, which we always have on our desk if you watch on YouTube, because it's my favorite movie of all time. there's Eugene writes in crayon, like, the bad, there's monsters coming, dear army guys, like, please send help. And so at the end of the movie, the army shows up and he's like, all right, where are they? Where are the monsters? Blah, blah. And so that's very much like with this, because when Gordy is on the phone tower and he's using the phone, he's like, hey lady, there's spiders, blah. And she's like, haha, fuck you. And he's like, no, but seriously, blah. And so when they actually come at the end, I took that. I don't think it's a direct reference to it, but it's the same exact thing that happens. So I guess it's plagiarism. Keep going, Jim.
So we get the voiceover at the end of Harlan, and then Arquette opens the gold mines, and we get a zoom in on Harlan's teeth as like the end scene, and he's got some gold. I honestly didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I noticed the teeth, but it didn't register that he didn't have them before. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
His character, his face looked like Jermaine Clement in Moana when he's the giant's crab covered in gold.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, hey, that's a very interesting expression. And boom, credits. Like I said earlier, no setup for a sequel whatsoever, and certainly no setup for a squeakquel. Sorry, guys, had to do it. Did you notice that the credits, there's a tribute to Louis Arquette, Don Devlin, and Pilar Cerveris?
No.
Louis Arquette famously is, he plays Jimmy King's dad in Ready to Rumble. He's the Cardinal in Little Nicky. He's in Scream. Don Devlin was an actor in Blood of Dracula, and he was the producer of Witches of Eastwick, which is kind of a terrifying movie. And Pilar Cerveris was actually once married to Don Devlin. Before marrying Don Cerveris, she was in the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Star Trek, and the original Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider, No You Don't Want Nada. Anyway, fellas, this is fun. Jim, is this a classic, a trashic, or a tragic? Go.
Classic.
Chad.
Classic.
I say classic. It teeters on the edge of a tragic.
For sure. It's a straddler.
But here's the thing. This movie, compared to Arachnophobia, you can't in good conscience say that Arachnophobia is a classic without acknowledging that this movie, in its own way, is similarly a classic. Reason being, at least this movie has somewhat of a distinguishable story structure. At least this movie tries to tell a story and have something different. Literally, Arachnophobia is Jaws with spiders.
Right. And this has I think a higher rewatch count. Like you can watch this one once a year. Arachnophobia, I don't even think you could watch that once a year.
In fact, I'm going to go rewatch it again because my wife did not get to finish it.
And
she wants to. So I'm going to go watch it for the third time in like 4 days.
Nice.
That's crazy. That's more than the last 17 years, I imagine.
Yeah, it is.
It was great. So this is a movie where there's enough going on to where if you want to pay attention, you can get something out of it. If you don't want to pay attention, you can just leave it on and talk to people or do whatever you have to do, chores around the house. And when you look up at the TV every so often, you'll see a flaming spider or somebody being wrapped in silk. And there's enough going on to where it's fun. And I'm not saying that it's high art, but it achieves what it sets out to do. I'm not laughing at it. I'm always laughing with it. And I truly think this movie kind of got fucked over by the release schedule. Like I said, like look at the movies that it was like the contemporaries. That money is going to be better spent on movies with a bigger budget, more accredited actors. I mean, it didn't really stand a chance. And I'm kind of glad that it seems to have this kind of resurgence online. And tell me, are you surprised they never did an Iraq Attack 2, like direct to DVD, even with this being a flop?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Or even if like Sci-Fi picked it up and just have a whole bunch of those.
That'd be super fun. I think, David Arquette is
he
available.
Ain't doing anything.
Yeah, he's getting smashed with halogen bulbs in his deathmatch pro wrestling. Look it up. It's really fun to watch. So, guys, is that it for this week?
I believe it is.
All right. Jimbo, do you want to use your very catchy send off?
Eat my shorts, fuck boys.
And Chad.
It's killing or enjoy killing time. Until next week.
And for Jim, for Chad, for Brian, wherever he may be, for my wife who's probably already asleep, I am Jake, wishing you a happy day and telling you to go out there and do something you love. And remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy.